Assalamualaikum students. This video is regarding specimen paper 4. It's A2 component paper 4. This specimen paper is for 2023 exam series onward. And this question reads, with the help of a diagram, assess the view that government intervention can be used successfully to correct market failure caused by positive externalities. First of all, when the question requires a diagram, remember you cannot get beyond level 2 if you have not included at least one correctly labeled relevant diagram in your text. It's a must that you must include a diagram in your essay. More than one diagram is welcome, as long as you draw the diagrams which are relevant as well as they are accurate. So, positive externalities is one of the cases of market failure. So, we have begun the answer, the sample answer, by giving the definition of a market failure. So, market failure arises, basically, what is market? Market is demand and supply forces. Now, I often give this example to my students in my classes, that if you look at the market system, it's like a kind of cruel system. Cruel in the sense that product is available only to those who can afford it. Just look at a hospital. There is a hospital, and that hospital is refusing admission and treatment to a child who is suffering from a pain. Now, the rationale of their refusal is that the child and the parents of that child cannot afford paying the medical expenses. Now, we accept this behavior. This behavior is acceptable because we are living in a market economy, and we agree to the decision of the management of the hospital to refuse admission and treatment to those who do not afford. Now, in a way, it's cruel. But why do we encourage, or why do we support and condone this behavior? Because we believe that market is more efficient. Market will allocate resources efficiently, and if there is an incentive in the form of price and profits to the businesses, they are likely to be more efficient. So we believe that markets are going to be efficient, but we get worried and concerned when we see that even the market will fail. Even the market will fail in efficient resource allocation. So this is a very important topic, that once we allow market forces to operate and we allow them to restrict the provision of goods only to those who can afford paying a price, when we allow that behavior, we should at least get efficiency or efficient resource allocation in return. But when market fails in efficient resource allocation, that becomes a cause of concern. So there are 4 or 5 areas of market failure, and one of them is positive externalities. This is the topic of this question. So before we talk about positive externalities, we give the definition of a market failure. So market failure arises when demand supply forces fail to allocate resources efficiently. So resource allocation, the failure to allocate resources efficiently is the market failure, and resource allocation is not efficient. So firm is the market is either over allocating or under allocating resources. Now, what is efficient resource allocation? The efficient resource allocation, there are 3 key words. Efficient resource allocation is when welfare of the society is maximized. When welfare of the society is maximized, and it is achieved when MSB of the last unit is equal to MSC. And the third, the sale price equals marginal social cost. Now, in case you are required to explain what is market efficiency, what is efficient resource allocation, these are the 3 key words, or 3 key statements I am giving you. Total welfare of the society is maximized when resource allocation is efficient. Marginal social benefit of the last unit equals marginal social cost, and sale price equals marginal social cost. So we show it through a diagram. Along x-axis we can show price, and along y-axis we can show quantity. We can draw a diagram that is downward sloping, that is the demand curve, and it also shows marginal social benefit, and upward rising supply curve, and that also shows marginal social cost, and this point E where MSV equal to MSB, that is the equilibrium point, and this price PE and this quantity QE is efficient resource allocation, and we look at this, the sale price, that is PE, is equal to marginal social cost of the last unit. Now, what are positive externalities? So one of the cases of market failure is positive externalities. Positive externalities is positive spillover effect. It is a positive spillover effect when the benefit of a transaction, when people buy and sell goods, the benefit of that buying and selling goods goes beyond those buyer and sellers, and that is extended to those who are not a direct part of the transaction. So that is an external benefit, and that is a positive externality. Now, positive externalities could be of two types, production and consumption. Now, this sample answer focuses on consumption positive externalities. In some future question, we may also talk about positive production externalities. Positive production externality, but this is positive consumption externality. And I have given the example of a public vaccination program. So we remember, we are aware that just a couple of years ago, we all witnessed COVID, and we were all very concerned. But this vaccination program came for our rescue, and life got back to some normalcy because of this successful vaccination programs. So vaccination, there is a private benefit of vaccination. If I get vaccinated, I am reducing my chances of catching a disease. But there is an external benefit of that as well. If I get vaccinated, I do not only reduce my chances of getting infected, I reduce the probability of others to get infected as well. That will be an external benefit. Again, if I'm a school teacher, I get vaccinated, I get immunity, and I reduce the chances of getting ill and leaving or staying absent from my classes. I will be able to attend my school more regularly, and I'll be able to teach my students more regularly without a break. When I am not ill, then that is when I'm vaccinated and I'm not infected. So when I'm vaccinated, I'm not only getting the benefit that I'm not getting ill, the benefit is also going to my students who probably are not vaccinated. The benefit is going to them that teacher is taking their classes regularly without a break. So there are benefits for vaccination which are private benefit, and there are benefits which are external benefit. So we talk about private benefits of vaccination, we talk about external benefit, and the benefit which are social benefits, they combine both private and external benefits. So now we move to the diagram 2, and diagram 2 shows the case of a positive consumption externality. So we are assuming there are no negative externalities, and marginal social cost and marginal private costs are equal. There is no negative externality, but there is marginal external benefit. There are people who are benefiting from the transaction, even though they are not a part of the transaction. They are neither providing vaccination nor they are getting it, but they are getting benefit in terms of better economic activity, in terms of a teacher attending the school regularly, or in terms of they have less chance of getting a disease. So if we look at this diagram, again along x-axis we show the quantity, along y-axis we show the price. Now we draw one demand curve, and that is marginal private benefit, but we show another diagram and that shows marginal social benefit, and another diagram that is upward rising, and that is marginal private cost and marginal social cost and supply curve. Now since there is no negative production externality involved, MPC, that is marginal private cost, is assumed to be taken equal to marginal social cost. Now the quantity that the firm will make is the quantity where MPB is equal to MPC of the last unit. Now that is the quantity the firm will make. This is the quantity the firm will make. At this quantity, the profits of the firm are maximized, QF. This quantity is produced by the firm, and this quantity is where marginal private benefit of making the last unit equals the marginal private cost. Now, from the point of view of the society, we look at marginal social benefit and marginal social cost. So, the society makes quantity QS where marginal social cost equals marginal social benefit of the last unit. Now, if we look at this, there is under consumption or under allocation of resources. Please do identify this along x-axis that there is under consumption and under allocation and under production of goods when there is positive externality. If you show the price, that is good, but even if you do not show the price, the examiner may not penalize you much, because the emphasis is on over allocation, over consumption and over production. That is along x-axis, and that shows the quantity produced by firm falls short of the quantity which maximizes the welfare of the society. The society's welfare is maximized at QS, where MSB equals MSC, whereas profits of the firm are maximized at QF, where MPB equals MPC. Now we need to identify graphically the welfare loss. To identify the welfare loss, remember, take the difference between two output, and between these two output, QS and QF, look at the vertical gap between MPB and MPC. Now MSB is this curve. MSB is, let me use the eraser. So between this output range, identify where is marginal social benefit curve. So marginal social benefit curve is this one. And where is marginal social cost curve? It is this one. So between these output, this vertical distance between MSB and MSC will identify the welfare loss. Now this is the welfare loss because of positive externalities. If output QS was made instead of output QF, society would have gained this welfare area, but society is unable to get this welfare area as the profit motive of the market forces is restricting output to QF. The market is underproducing and depriving society of a possible welfare gain. So this welfare loss should be shown graphically, and again between the output range, the vertical gap between MSB and MPC will tell you about a possible welfare loss or a possible welfare gain. Now, the government, how can government intervene? The government can intervene either in the form of subsidies. So we draw this diagram again. Quantity, price, MPB, MSC and MPC and supply curve, and MSB, marginal social benefit, quantity produced by firm, quantity produced by society. So if government comes in and wants to intervene, they may award a subsidy. Now what does subsidy do? Subsidy reduces cost of production. Subsidy shifts the marginal private cost downward. So new marginal private cost curve is shifting downward, and that is marginal private cost curve 1. Now if the subsidy is exactly equal to marginal external benefit, that is the difference between, now this is marginal external benefit, and that is the vertical gap between marginal social benefit and marginal private benefit. That marginal external benefit, a subsidy is exactly equal to this. It will help us take output from QF to QS. Now this is a terrific diagram. It's a very important diagram. You are requested, advised, urged to to practice this diagram for positive externalities question. So I may draw it at the end of my discussion again. Now I'll draw it again. Now let me erase this. I can draw it again so that you can look at the diagram again, that how do we make it. It's an important diagram, and that's why I'm taking time out to draw it again. So along x-axis quantity, along y-axis price, marginal private benefit, marginal social benefit, and remember the vertical distance between MSB and MPB is marginal external benefit. The vertical gap between MSB and MSPB is marginal external benefit. I erase it for a moment so that my diagram looks simpler. And the supply curve is same, which shows both marginal private cost and marginal social cost. Output made by firms is QF and output made by firms is QS. Now subsidy will shift the supply curve rightward, downward. Marginal private cost 1. Now this is because of the subsidy. It is because of the subsidy that the supply curve is shifting downward and the output is approximately equal to QS. Now this is the impact of subsidy for positive externality, and this is the impact of government intervention on resource allocation. However, it is difficult to assign an exact monetary value to positive externalities. So it is difficult to assign what should be the value of subsidy. So there could be over subsidy, there could be under subsidy, and we call it government failure. Now market failure, to correct market failure, government intervenes, but government may not be able to judge the true value of external benefit and may end up over or under subsidizing a product, and in that case there could be over or under allocation of resources. So subsidies do require government resources, and that involves an opportunity cost. The government can spend this money somewhere else. Government may actually give tax relief to those who are paying heavy taxes. Subsidies are often misdirected as well, because quite often they reach those who don't deserve them. For example, a government giving subsidy and intended to give this subsidy to poor people, but someone is using that subsidized electricity to keep his swimming pool heated during the season of winter. Now that's a luxury, and government never wanted to subsidize a luxury, but subsidies can often be misused and misdirected. So maybe vaccination subsidy for vaccination is a good idea when vaccination is going to be given to a poor person, but a person who is rich and can afford vaccination, it's not necessary that government come forward and gives a subsidy to him. Anyway, another strategy, the other strategy which government can use is awareness campaign. Awareness campaign, a successful persuasive campaign which highlights the benefits of a vaccination program, or benefits of education, or benefits of any other health program which are all have positive externalities, or benefits of a healthy lifestyle, benefits of doing exercise every day, benefits of going to gym regularly, benefits of reading books. So anything which has positive externality, a persuasive campaign. Now what will that do? This persuasive campaign will shift the curve from to the right side. It will shift MPB curve to the right. However, this may help overcome the problem of underconsumption, but advertisements are not only expensive, they require government funding. And again, the outcome of these campaigns may not be certain. Now, you may write over here, I have not written that, but you may write it, that consumers do not always act in a rational manner. They work in peer pressure. Now, maybe for example, a student is convinced that he should go and read more books, but he is going to visit a library to read books, but his friends take him to a more fun place, maybe to a cinema house to watch a movie, and peer pressure. So our choices are influenced by peer pressure, and we do not always make rational decisions. So these campaigns may not be effective if if consumers are not rational thinkers, and these campaigns could have very slow impact on people's behaviors, and they may not be able to mend and change their behavior in the desired manner. And even though behaviors change, but that do happen only in the long run. So these campaigns may not have an impact immediately. So the government policies may be effective. They may be effective in bringing the output close to the socially optimal level, but it's not guaranteed that government intervention will always take the output to the most efficient level, where MSB of the last unit equals MSC, as there could be over or under subsidies, and there could be effective or ineffective campaigns. So that concludes my discussion on this sample question. I hope you like this video and you found it useful. Thank you very much.